Welcome to MMAPlay365. I'm Newsome and I'm here for the Baze AI recap from last weekend's pay-per-view event at UFC 287. The UFC prediction software, Baze AI, a good mix between the value and some solid winners, so we're going to get straight into it, explain where it was at, some of the predictions it had, and why that had provided, a good addition to however you wanted to bet at UFC 287. So we're going to start in the value section. Now, for anybody new to Baze AI and the recaps on the UFC prediction software, the value section is usually an incorrect pick from Baze AI from a percentage perspective. However, the value is created when the percentage matches or betters the odds that the bookies are giving. And I'll give you the perfect example in this first fight that we're going to talk about. So, Sam Hughes versus Jaqueline Amorim. So Sam Hughes to win, Baze AI gave at 46%. So this is an incorrect pick from Baze AI. However, at 46%, the odds implied of Hughes winning that fight is plus 117. So Baze AI is saying, look, Hughes is rightly an underdog. However, she should only be plus 117. But on the betting line, you'd have got plus 220 to plus 240. So where Baze AI is saying that Hughes is not too far from a coin flip, the bookies are saying that Hughes is rightfully a moderate to big underdog. So this is where you're getting the value, because you're betting a line at plus 220 to plus 240, where Baze AI is saying actually it should be much closer to a coin flip, with the slight spin on Amorim being the favourite. So there's plenty of value betting Sam Hughes against Jaqueline Amorim. That's what Baze AI is saying. And that's exactly how it played out. Hughes won the fight, and Baze AI, was incorrect very slightly with the prediction from the percentage perspective. But anybody that's playing for value and matching the percentages from Baze AI to the bookies' odds is going to start getting real good value. And Sam Hughes is a perfect example of that. And in the next fight that we're going to talk about, this is another real good example as well. So we've got Rob Font versus Adrian Yanez. Now, Rob Font to win the fight, Baze AI was saying he should be 47%. Odds implied on 47% is plus 113. So Baze AI is saying that Rob Font is rightfully an underdog, but he should only be a very slight underdog. Again, another type of fight where it's a coin flip with a slight lean on Adrian Yanez. Now, Rob Font won the fight, so again, an incorrect prediction, but from a value perspective, like I've already said, at 47%, the odds implied on that is plus 113. You could have bet Rob Font from anywhere from plus 150 to plus 175. So again, you're getting a ton of value on that, because the odds are saying that the fight is going to be less close than what Baze AI has said. So again, if you're playing for the value, if you're playing for the edge over the bookies, then Rob Font, although it was an incorrect prediction from Baze AI, was a really good play, a value play, and one that would have got you a cashed winning ticket as well. Now, there's multiple ways of using Baze AI, and the next section is another example of that. So we're moving into the solid winners section. Now, some of these solid winners don't have value at the bookies, but if you're the type of gambler that just wants to, put a few 4-5 leg parlays on some certain fighters just to make things a little bit more spicy, a little bit more interesting whilst you're watching the fights, with a lot of people do. I do the same with football, soccer, for you guys in America. I don't bet a lot of money on football, but I just put a little bit on here and there just to make the football matches a little bit more exciting. Some people do that for MMA. And if you're doing that for MMA, you're going to be less concerned with value and getting an edge over the bookies. And this is where the solid winners section comes in. The first fight that we're going to talk about, Steve Garcia versus Shayilan Nuerdanbieke. So Garcia to win the fight was 50.29%. And the reason why I've mentioned the 0.29%, I normally just round the numbers up or down depending on where they're at, obviously. But the 0.29% means that it's a coin flip with the slightest edges over to Steve Garcia. The most very slight edge. But 50.29% odds implied is minus 101. So it's actually saying, Baze AI is actually saying that there should be a minus number in front of Garcia's odds. But actually Garcia was anywhere from plus 150 to plus 200 to win the fight. So although Baze AI is saying that, it's a pretty much coin flip, it's still saying there should be a minus in front of Garcia's odds. But you're actually getting a plus number, plus 150 to plus 200. There's plenty of value there. Next up, Garcia to win inside the distance. So this is knockout, submission and disqualification that the bookies put together for inside the distance. To work out inside the distance from Base AI, just add the knockout and the submission together. You get the DQ for free. Yeah. So add the knockout, add the submission, inside the distance. Steve Garcia, 43%. At 43%, the odds implied are plus 133. So for Garcia to win this fight, he's more likely to win it by a finish. Plus 133, Base AI is saying it should be at the bookies, but the bookies are actually giving you plus 300 to plus 325. So insane value again, and we're going to go one step further. Garcia to win this fight by KO, TKO specifically. So to knock Nuerdanbieke out, Garcia, Base AI was saying should be 35%. It's 35%. That's the likelihood of Garcia winning this fight by knockout. At 35%, the odds implied are plus 186. So a little bit higher, but again, now we're going into real method of victory specifics. But for plus 186 is what Base AI is saying it should be at the bookies. You would have actually got anywhere from plus 420 to plus 480. So insane value across the Garcia moneyline win, straight win-loss. Garcia to win inside the distance gives you a cheeky edge on submission and DQ. Or if you wanted to just go straight for the big ticket, Garcia by knockout, value across the board. And like I say, some of these solid winners don't have value and they're just there for anybody that wants to throw them in a parlay. But Steve Garcia was not only the underdog, but he was also the fighter that won and had a ton of value as well. So a solid winner and great value on the underdog. Really good job from Base AI on that fight. Next up in the solid winners section, we've got Ignacio Bahamondes versus Trey Ogden. Now, Base AI was saying Bahamondes to win was 60%, so relatively confident. At 60%, the odds implied is minus 150. At the bookies, Bahamondes opened at about minus 280, closed at minus 400, so there was no value there from anybody looking to get an edge against the bookies. But if you're looking for fighters just to simply throw in a quick fun parlay or a fun accumulator if you're from the UK, then Bahamondes was a decent pick at 60%. And like I say, there was not a ton of value on the betting line, but those that are looking for the fun gamblers, the fun sections, the fun parlays, then that's a type of fighter that you'd have thrown in there. Someone that you'd have had confidence that's not going to break your parlay. And obviously he didn't because he won. And the next one in the solid winners section, we've got Loopy to Godinez versus Cynthia Calvillo. Now, this did end up a split decision, so it was a little bit greasy. But again, if you're looking for fighters that are decent odds and you're looking for someone to throw in a parlay and you just trust Base AI from a pick percentage perspective and not putting too much interest in the value against the bookies and the odds, then Godinez was a decent slot in a parlay. And again, it would have, cashed that leg of the parlay. So Godinez to win, Base AI said, should have been 59%. So 59% was the likelihood Godinez was going to win the fight. At 59%, odds implied it's minus 144. On the betting lines, you'd have got minus 240 to minus 250. So there was no value there from the betting side. But again, if you're looking to just throw Godinez in a parlay, then you're not going to be too interested in the edge against the bookies. So we go one step further though, and it's actually interesting because this doesn't happen a lot. But Godinez to win by decision was the greater percentage. So Base AI was saying, look, she's likely not going to finish and it is likely going to be a decision. And it actually played out, and that would have actually won that slot for you as well. So Godinez to win by decision was 37%. Base AI was saying that she should have been plus 170 to win the fight on the scorecards. And the actual odds at the bookies was minus 125. So again, not a lot of value, but if you're wanting to boost that parlay with a plus money number and you think, you know what, Base AI is saying that Godinez is more likely to win a decision, I'll just take the decision instead of the straight win. It gives me better odds, it boosts my parlay, greater returns. Then that's the type of bet that you'd have been looking at, and it would have been one that again would have moved your parlay on to the next leg, unless it was the final leg. And the next fight to talk about in the solid winners section, again, this one actually goes on to all four levels, which I'll explain in a minute. There isn't any value on any of the four levels, but again, if you're just looking to play the parlays and have a little bit of fun, then you could have won on any single one of the levels. We've got Joe Pyfer versus Gerald Meerschaert. Pyfer to win, Base AI said, was 54%. Odds implied on 54%, minus 117. Pyfer was anywhere from minus 175 to minus 200. So no value if you're looking to get an edge over the bookies, but if you wanted to throw Pyfer into a parlay, then he was available and he would have won that leg of the parlay. But we're going even further. Basically, I was correct across the board in regards to percentages. Pyfer to win inside the distance. Again, add your knockout and submission together, you get 50%. Now there's only 4% difference between Pyfer to win outright and Pyfer to finish. So basically, I is saying, look, if Pyfer's going to win, it's very, very likely that he wins by a finish rather than a decision. Now, odds implied on 50% is plus 100. You'd have actually got minus 125 at the bookies, which is now more value than the money line. There's still not value compared to Base AI, but when you're looking at Pyfer 54% at minus 200 or Pyfer at 50% to win inside the distance at minus 125, you're going to take the better line. We go further, Pyfer to win by knockout TKO, specifically on the method of victory. Now, the knockout TKO is 34%. Odds implied on 34% is plus 194. The odds at the bookies, you're now actually getting plus money. You're getting plus 105. So again, not too much value, but compared to, your money line on Pyfer, to you inside the distance, to your knockout, the odds are getting slightly better for you. Again, if you wanted to just play something fun on the night. But we're going into the final level. So we're going into method of victory plus round. So Pyfer to win by KO, TKO specifically, in round one specifically, 19%. At 19%, the odds implied is plus 426, which 19% isn't unusual, by the way, for a method of victory and round specifically, because these are really hard to hit. But at plus 426, it's probably about right. It's normal. However, on the bookies, they did have it, much shorter. It was plus 225, plus 250. But again, Base AI predicted Pyfer to win inside the distance, Pyfer to win by knockout, and Pyfer to win in knockout in round one. All four came in. So there might not have been too much value from, anybody looking to beat the bookies with getting an edge and all that, the long-term game. If you're looking to play some fun stuff, then you've had a lot of fun things to play with in that fight, and each level would have won that leg for you in the parlay. Or, if you just had that ticket on round one on its own at, good plus money, then again, it would have cashed that ticket for you as well. The next solid winner to talk about, although I wasn't sure whether to put this in the solid winners section, if I'm being honest. But again, if it was in your parlay, it would have been a cashed leg for you, a one leg closing, hopefully, to your cashed parlay. We've got Luana Pinheiro versus Michelle Waterson-Gomez. Pinheiro to win was 59% from Base AI. Odds implied on that is minus 144. And you would have got anywhere from minus 140 to minus 175. So actually, if you'd have weighted this out, because the closing line, I think, was the minus 140. So if you've weighted this one out, you'd have actually got some value on this from what Base AI was saying it should be to what the bookies are offering. Throughout fight week, she was around minus 175. Now, the reason I wasn't sure whether to put this in is because it was a split decision. I personally thought she'd lost. I also bet Michelle Waterson-Gomez. From a biased perspective, I don't work like that. Look, if my fighter loses the fight, I will say he lost the fight. But I was expecting a unanimous decision for Waterson-Gomez, 29-28. Round one, round three, round two was even close as well. So even if we'd have seen a 30-27, I wouldn't have been overly shocked. But for Pinheiro to win that split decision, yeah, I think it was off. But it doesn't matter what the judges say or what I say. It matters what that final result was. And Pinheiro won the fight. And if you had her in a parlay, or if you bet her straight with that value on the minus 140 compared to the minus 144, then it was a one leg or a cashed bet. So, Base AI was correct with how the prediction was and whose name on paper won that fight. And finally, the last one to talk about, we've got Christian Rodriguez versus Raul Rosas Jr. This was a really good one from Base AI, in my opinion. Christian Rodriguez, Base AI had to win at 51%, so a coin flip with the slightest edge on Rodriguez. Now, at 51%, the odds implied on that is minus 104. So again, Base AI is saying that Rodriguez, it is picking Rodriguez to win. And at minus 104, it should have a minus in front of its bet, in front of Christian Rodriguez's betting line. But you could have got Rodriguez anywhere from plus 200 to plus 230, and he won convincingly as well. Very sketchy in the first round, very sweaty if you'd bet him in that first round. But after that first round, it was all Rodriguez, and you'd have been much more comfortable after that first 5 minutes. But from the betting perspective, a very slight lean on Christian Rodriguez at 51%. So it is saying, look, it's a coin flip, but don't ever let that put you off just because Base AI is a little bit unsure. You can always use that, that edge on the bookies. If someone's flipping a coin and you've got heads and tails, but one side's paying you 2-1 rather than your 50-50, man, like, that's a good bet. So Base AI did a real good job on this Christian Rodriguez fight. Plenty of value at the bookies as well. And that's the last one. That's the last fight we're going to discuss for UFC 287. So, look, I hope that anyone that's looking into Base AI and seeing that is really starting to understand that there's not only multiple ways of using Base AI, but it can be really good from a betting perspective in multiple different ways as well. So, yeah, that's it for the UFC 287 recap. I'm Newsome. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week for a recap from UFC Kansas City.